service member and singer-songwriter Austin Merrill, today on the Music Universe podcast.
Hey man, how's it going?
Oh, it goes. How are you?
I'm not too bad, just hanging in there and staying busy with all the interviews and podcasts, episodes and web news and all that stuff we got to put together, having fun.
Yeah. Our guest today actually sounds like he was talking to him. It sounds like he would be fun to hang out with if we ever get the chance to. He is a veteran. I didn't quite understand if he's a vet or if he's still active. I don't know how the whole reserved thing
currently
works.
commissioned as a lieutenant in the Tennessee Army National Guard, so he's active.
Oh my goodness.
He's active.
Yeah.
And he hails from Bend, Oregon. He plays 3 instruments. They're very diverse. We'll let him chat with us about that. And his latest single, Whiskey to Water, is at Country Radio now.
And we were having so much fun talking about the military. Before we throw to it, we forgot to mention that he does have an EP. But go ahead. I know you have that in front of you. He has an EP coming out. We didn't get to ask him. Actually, you know what? We did ask him what new projects and stuff he'd be writing about. And he didn't mention it as well because we were having so much fun talking about the military stuff. You have that info on that EP. Talk a little bit about that before we go.
Yeah, he's currently recording it with producer Mark Bright. So he's a big-time producer in Nashville. You'll Come Knocking music video is featured on CMT as part of their Next Up Now series and Spotify's New Boots playlist. So without further ado, it's Austin Merrill here on the Music Universe podcast. So Austin Merrill joining us today at the Music Universe podcast. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man, all things considered.
Yeah.
Spending a little more time at home than usual.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, that's how it goes. So, getting a little more songwriting in, I guess. So it's a good way to pass the time.
Where are you waiting it out? Where are you spending time? Where's home?
I'm in Franklin, Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
Suburb
of Nashville.
Just, 15 minutes south of Nashville? Yep.
Yeah, nice area. What usually what we've been asking everyone is what they've been, killing their time with, and it sounds like you're getting a lot of songwriting in. Are you co-writing? Are you doing a lot of telecommuting with the songwriting process?
No, it's just me, all by my lonesome. I am the solo writer on all the tracks on my records, and it tends to work well that way, and I'm having success with it so far. So I'm a lucky guy. Makes it easy too because I can stay away from people when it's just me and my couch.
There you go. And,
Exactly.
and you play a few instruments as well. For those that don't know, guitar, upright bass, and sax. That's a variety of
That's diverse.
instruments.
Not all at the same time though.
Hey, you got to work on that. Get to stepping.
Right? Yeah, I gotta maybe I could carve out a nice niche for myself. Could be the country music one-man band.
There you go.
But that is such a unique combination: upright bass, guitar, saxophone. How did you come by all those 3 particular instruments?
I grew up playing the bass, so that was the one that I took on first. I started playing bass in 3rd grade. I went to private school for 1 year, and it just so happened to be the year that at that school that they you could take a music class, and so they introduced all the instruments to the kids. They lined them all up, and told us to just pick one. And I picked the biggest one, and that's literally the only reason I picked the bass is because it was huge. And I thought, oh man, that thing looks awesome. Obviously, much to the chagrin of my mother, who had to carry it around for me because I was too small to even haul my own instrument. But it worked out, and I played classical music and jazz growing up all through high school. I took second in the state solo contest for classical bass playing. And then when I moved to Nashville to go to school, I came to Vanderbilt to study to make mom and dad happy, but I wanted to initially be a bass player in a band. And then the songwriting and the singing bug really took hold when I was in college, and that became my superseding passion. But initially, I wanted to be a bass player, and so I still love plucking on the thing.
Nice.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So you mentioned your songwriter, the solo songwriter. Has the current situation, quarantine, isolation, whatever you want to call it, been an inspiration to you, these world circumstances? Anything coming to mind for you?
Music has always been kind of an escape for me. So I don't know that a whole lot has changed in that regard, just because, music kind of always occupies its own space in my mind. But, I've been able to do a lot of Facebook Live broadcasts and whatnot in lieu of radio station visits and concerts and stuff like that. And so it's been nice to connect that way with people, with original songs and covers.
Right.
So it's kind of a changing landscape, or at least, it is temporarily, but we're still able to connect with fans and connect with listeners. And so, it's just different, but, we roll with the punches.
Yeah, but on the writing side of it, are these circumstances inspiring any song ideas, anything about what's going on right now? Big and Rich just released a song called Stay Home. Anything coming to mind for you? Any angles you see to write about for this?
Well, hopefully, in anything that I would write that was super topical would not be relevant here in a few months, because hopefully this all blows over. But I guess I can draw from the emotions that could come from being lonely or being quarantined, stuff like that. Because when I sit down to write stuff, I would like to write stuff that is timeless, and I guess that's probably what most writers would say. And so if I can draw more on just kind of general emotions that might come out in these situations, then I can write something that people listen to for years and years. So, and also not a whole lot rhymes with virus.
That is true. Yeah, that's true. So tell us about Whiskey and Water. It was sent to country radio, and it's a really, really cool tune. Tell us about the inspiration behind it.
So thanks, man. Whiskey and Water. I wrote that a few years ago, and it was right before I had to go to Fort Jackson, South Carolina, for about 12 weeks of military training. I've been in the Tennessee Army National Guard for over 5 years now, and I had commissioned previously to writing that song, and then I had to go to our specialization training for lieutenants. It's called Bullock, and so I had to go get schooled up, and I was not particularly looking forward to it. But I had to go do it. And so, I guess maybe that's where kind of that, no, I wouldn't say sorrowful, but more of a lonesome country song came out of that. It's a happy song. It's about love and in a good relationship, but it's still kind of got that old school country flavor. And so nothing like some dread to kind of put you in that old school country music flavor. So yeah, that's how that came about. And luckily, I got to actually bring my guitar on that stint of training. That usually doesn't happen. So I was able to get quite a few songs written during training, which was nice. But yeah, I wrote that right before I put the uniform back on. And a couple years later, we cut it, and it's my first single to radio. So it's pretty cool.
Well, thank you for your service.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man.
And you have a voice. Your voice is really great. And as soon as I heard it, please take this as a compliment, because I think he's a great singer, tells stories very well. Don't know if you'll be familiar with him, but your voice sounds very similar to Neil McCoy's voice. And I don't know if you know who he is.
Of course I know who Neil McCoy is. Yeah, I've seen him maybe 2, maybe 3 times in concert.
He's great.
Yeah, you remind me of that tone. I mean, you have your own voice, of course, but the way he tells stories and the way you tell stories, I can see if there's some subconscious inspiration there or conscious inspiration. It's certainly there.
Yeah, thanks. I don't know if I'll ever write a song quite like Billy's Got His Beer Goggles On, but...
What about hillbilly rap?
Well,
maybe I'll stick more to like... The Shake or Wink. Yeah, he's had some real good songs.
Yeah, but because you're inspired by 90s country, who are some of your acts that you really enjoy listening to and perhaps have been influenced by?
Sure, yeah. So I grew up listening to, 90s country radio in general because mom and dad were the ones that played the music, and I wouldn't call them like critical listeners. They were big country music fans, but they were more casual listeners in that they just listened to whatever the radio had on. We would sometimes get CDs. My mom did that. Remember back when you could buy like 10 CDs for $1 or whatever?
I was in all of those.
Yeah, with that, whatever that mail-in service was. So, we got a lot of CDs that way. But other than that, it was country radio. So everybody's got a song or two or three that, I can still sing along to. Some of my favorites, I would say, are like Vince Gill. Alan Jackson is probably my favorite country music singer of all times. George Strait, Tim McGraw and Kenny Chesney, when they were first hitting big, they had great songs coming out. So, that's all the stuff that kind of formed me into who I am. I would say it was more an era as opposed to, one or two artists. So Keith Urban, I should throw him in there too. Man, Keith Urban's first couple albums were just incredible. He's still a good artist, but he really, in my formative years, his early stuff really hit me just right.
You mentioned Keith, and you can't do that without mentioning his band, The Ranch. Do you remember them?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah,
I do remember that. In fact, that was one of the albums that my mom got for a nickel or whatever.
Yeah.
Back when she was doing that. Yeah, I remember that album. That was good.
Yeah.
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 He's always occupied his own lane in country music, and I respect it, and it's kind of hard to do that. I'm trying to do that. I think every artist wants to, kind of live in their own space. But he's able to do it. Alan Jackson was definitely able to do it. So was Vince Gill. Those are really the people whose careers that I kind of look to for guidance, I suppose.
Now, I want to backtrack just a bit to one thing you said that you wrote while you were commissioned in the service. Did you find there were other writers, other musicians serving with you? I mean, I've always wondered about kind of the free time and the recreational time, and you probably can't be the only creative soul in the service.
No, in my 5 years, I have met a few artists, but no singer-songwriters that I can think of. I mean, I've met, people that can draw or paint well and stuff like that, and they use that as their creative outlet. But I have to say I might be the only singer-songwriter that I've ever come across. And it's definitely been treated as a novelty. I mean, I get a lot of good ribbing from my fellow soldiers about it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of being a pretty boy on stage and whatnot.
That's
so
what they do, right?
It's all a lot of fun. Huh?
That's what they do, right? Rib on each other.
Oh yeah. No holds barred in the Army. So I was happy to play that character. I was definitely the singer. In fact, I led Cadence a lot in training.
Oh yeah.
I was the favorite. They would always call out Merrill to get me out to lead the company when we had to march down the road.
Oh nice.
So I got to showcase it a little bit, and I wrote a cadence or two actually. I don't know if I've ever told anybody that outside of the service, but yeah, I wrote a couple cadences, and we would sing them in training. So yeah, I was the music guy.
Anything you can repeat? I mean,
I'd have to think on that a little bit.
It is the internet, so it's not censored. But yeah, that's cool, dude. That is really cool. I'd be interested in hearing those if you ever feel inclined.
Yeah.
Or the basis for some patriotic song.
I may be coerced into playing at this year's Brigade Ball, actually. So our big formal gathering for the unit,
Yeah.
for one of the big brigades in Tennessee. They've already started talking to me about providing the entertainment for that engagement. So, I may voluntold I may be voluntold to do that by my command. Be like, all right, well,
It's
I
the
guess
Army.
I know what my job is.
You're voluntold.
Well,
as
It's
that's
the
everyone.
supposed to
Army,
be.
yeah. They say, Merrill, you will sing. I say, hey, yes, sir.
I love that. When is it supposed to be? Is it in danger of all of this stuff getting moved?
Nah, it's like September, October, around there.
Oh,
So
yeah.
hopefully we're not in this situation by then. Sheesh.
Well, hopefully we're not, but it sounds like you are making good time with the time that you have, good use of it. Thank you for your service, and thank you for your time. This was truly wonderful, and please come back as you write more songs, because we got to hear those cadences.
Yeah, maybe I'll work on them. I think I typed them up and I've got them in a box somewhere. 'Cause nobody really requests those at the live shows.
Start a new tradition.
Yeah, right. Get everybody to some call and response. Get some crowd involvement.
There you
Like,
go.
all right, everybody, left, right, space. Yeah, I'll work on that. That's fine. But yeah, I
right.
appreciate you guys having me on. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Such a down-to-earth guy. He seemed really fun.
Yeah.
Somebody you want to hang
Yeah.
with.
Yeah, and my favorite part probably is that he just writes everything himself.
Mm-hmm. And that's such a skill. It really is.
It is, and it takes a lot of guts because, I've written a lot of songs too, and you really put your heart and soul into it. So you're really opening up who you are, and it's all coming from you. It's not coming from the other 2 or 3 people that may be in the room with you, So pretty cool. So we're looking forward to new music from Austin, and, have to thank him more times than we can ever for his service.
Absolutely.
So awesome guy, and best of luck, and please sing those cadences.
I don't know what I've been told. TMU is
Don't,
6
Matt.
years old.
We're 7.
7. Well, that doesn't fit, okay?
I was actually asking him to sing them, not you.
Okay, this is what Stir Crazy Week 2 does to me, all right?
Yeah, I gotcha.
All right, for the Music Universe podcast, I'm Matt.
And I'm Buddy. Thanks for listening, and please keep tuning in and check out themusicuniverse.com for more details.